Hey, this is Cliff from CT Mad Mods, and this week I'm pulling the transmission out of my Samurai. I got Casey over here. We got a rebuilt transmission that we pulled out of Kyle's Samurai. Totally rebuilt it. It's ready to go in. Today's the day. Let's do this. Let's get it. All right, first things first, Casey's taking the starter apart and we're gonna disconnect the two top bolts. I think they're 14 millimeter. While he gets that side, I'm gonna jump on this side and get this top bolt off. That guy right there. All right, we gotta lift it up. We're taking off the bottom bolts. We got the starter disconnected. And we can get these bottom bolts off. All right, make sure you take that short shaft off before you try to pull the transmission. Everything's unbolted. It's about to come out. All right, I'm gonna get right here and I'm gonna move it back. I want you about right here. Okay? And maybe it'll fall off. We gotta lift up, and it's gotta go back. Got it? Yep. Save it. Okay, let's get up in there. Let's push it back as far as we can. Whoa, drop your end. Don't drop your end of the bargain. You gotta stay on top. I'm not quite in the I'm not in the groove. Hang on a minute. I'm gonna let go of it. Just hang on a minute, let me look at it. Push it forward, and I'm thinking that something like this right here. Can you hang on to the start lock? You're going to put some pressure on that. Yeah. So, stick it back on there. Push it forward. Here you go. It's at an angle. It needs to go this way. Whoop, there it goes, dude. There it goes. That's it. My nut is right here. Let me get one started. Yes. I don't know if I gotta put this on first. Just kind of get them started. You don't have to zap them all the way down, but if you get them started, yeah, like that. And once those get started, yeah, and then throw those in there while I'm lifting it. Because I think I can get them other two melts started. And everything else is cake after this. Like the 17, the other ones in the starter all that could be yeah, get all right, buddy. Thanks for your help. Yeah. All right, I got it from here, dude. All right, we got the new one in there. Casey needs to go. He's got a little girlfriend. They got big plans that don't include transmissions. That worked out pretty good. Went in pretty good. So I just got a couple of bolts to put in. I got the bell housing bolts to put in. All the mount bolts are in. I got to put that little cross member in and cinch everything down, put my starter in, and we're driving down the road. Sorry it's kind of loud in here, but this is a working shop and they're in tire season right now. But all right, so Casey took off. Got the transmission back in. It's looking pretty good. Everything's hooked up. I'm about to go up top and get the couple of bolts that I need to secure up there. That went together pretty quick, so probably took us an hour and a half. Just kind of showing him how to pull a transmission and put a transmission in. So a little OJT. He's going to aircraft A&P school at UAA here in Alaska to become an aircraft mechanic. So he's chip off the old block, my dad says. And here's the lubrication that we've put in it. I like this Stay Lube gear oil. It's GL4 yellow metal safe. Got my starter hooked back up. Got the bolts on the back of the motor for the bell housing all bolted on. And about to hook this battery back up. I know this looks messy, but we just got back from the moose hunt. And the transmission while I was out there wasn't giving me trouble, but it's been making a clicking sound, and it's been whining. Like I can tell that there's like a broken tooth and one of the bearings is starting to go. And I don't know, I just knew it was time. So I've been running it hard. But this is the transmission that we pulled out of Kyle's Samurai, and I totally rebuilt it. I just did that a couple of videos ago. When you pull these transmissions, it helps if you cut this little cross member right here. You don't have to cut it a lot, but I cut at least ½ an inch off. I could probably have cut it a little bit further. Like if you cut it to about right there, it'll be perfect. Because what ends up happening is whenever you start pulling the transmission out, it's just about ½ an inch too much in the way. So if you cut about 3/4 of an inch off, the transmission comes right out. All right, I just tested it out, put it in 4-wheel drive. Everything seems to be working right. So I'm gonna test it by driving home. I'll come back to you in the morning whenever it's daylight.
3 days later.
Nah, that wasn't it. It's popping out of first gear. It's back on the lift. Draining the oil, about to pull this transmission back out. So this is my old transmission, and I think what happened was we put the shift collar on backwards because it's popping out of gear. One of these shift collars, but it's first gear. I think this is first gear, so about to pull it out, pull it back apart. I've got my old one sitting here. I haven't messed with it yet, and we're about to find out if I put it on wrong. Okay, this is my old transmission. I got to talking to Casey over at Zuks of Hazard, and he said, look at your shifters, the shift collars, and he said, I bet you put your shift collar on backwards. And this is my old transmission, and so you can see, like this shift collar, it's wider right here. And if you look at the one I rebuilt, that shift collar is backwards. So I just got to take this shaft apart and pop her all apart and put it back together. It's first gear right there. So Casey, you were right, bud. So like I said, I've been texting with Casey over at Zuks of Hazard for a couple of days, and we were placing bets on what we thought it was, and he said, I think you put that that shift collar on backwards, and sure enough, he was right. So I give him props. If you aren't subscribed to Casey's YouTube channel, they're actually doing a great job. Go check it out. It's Zuks of Hazard on YouTube. Go check that out. I'll put a link down in the description. He's doing some awesome Suzuki content. He just did a how to pull your transmission out video. It was like 10 minutes long, and awesome information. All right, it's a new day. We're back on it. And guess who came to help? Don't let him get you. All right, so here's all I gotta do. I gotta pull this input shaft off and start pulling all these gears off, and I gotta flip this collar around. Let's get it. Okay, as I'm taking this shaft apart, I'm taking everything apart and I'm just slipping it onto this tool right here. So I'm putting it on there as it comes off, exactly the way it came off. And we were doing this the other day whenever we were doing the transmission, but we took this transmission apart 3 times, and this shift collar must have gotten put on wrong somehow. So I just made some marks so I know everything, all the yellow lines are gonna go that way. I just went to the store and bought a bearing press tool, and you'll need a 2-jaw puller like that to get the first bearing off. But it's coming back apart slowly but surely, just making sure I do it right. All right, I got this shaft all apart. I switched this collar around. You got to be real careful. There's ball bearings in here, and they will fall out, and so you got to make sure that you put them back in their place. And there's also, when you pull these shift collars apart, there's like these little tabs that get knocked out, and it's kind of hard to put them back in. I think that's why this got switched around, because they fell out. All right, here's what I did. I pulled everything apart and I made a mark to make sure that everything went forward, but I've got my other transmission sitting here, so I was able to kind of like look at it and put it together. Funny story, I put that gear on backwards just now, even though I had it all lined out, and I got to looking at it, I was like, oh, I got that on backwards. So I was able to put it back together correctly. We're going back together. I'm gonna clean up all this gasket material and put this transmission back together. All right, I got it back together. Just waiting for the RTV to kind of tack up before I torque it down. And then we're gonna throw this sucker back in. I think while I'm waiting on that, I'm gonna go ahead and change my oil. I'm already here. Got the transmission back in. Just put oil in it. And doesn't seem to be leaking. I just changed my oil while I was in there. So I got 2 bolts up top in the bell housing and the starter bolt to do, and I'm done. And then I got to put my shifter on, and then we're going to test her out. Okay, I got it all back together. I know y'all didn't want to watch me put a transmission back in again, so it's all bolted up. Everything's torqued down. I got oil and everything. I went ahead and did an oil change, put a new Wex XP filter and some Mobil 1 high mileage 5W30 in the engine. And like I said, I use that Stay Lube with the GL4 for yellow metal safe in the transmission. I'm gonna start this sucker up and I'm gonna go through the gears and see if it pops out of gear this time. Well, looks like I fixed it. All right, we're gonna take this for a test drive. Well, right off the bat, it ain't popping out at first. It's kind of bright out here. Yeet. Whenever I put this transmission in and that shift collar was backwards, it had a really bad gear noise. It already sounds way better. It hasn't popped out of first gear, so that's a good sign. There's second. Sounds good. Might need to adjust my clutch a little bit. Put a seatbelt on before I get a ticket. All right, I'm gonna take it out on the road out here. See what happens. I think it's put together right. After looking at the old transmission and how all those shift collars go together, I can tell it's put together right, but I've never built one of these before. Now I've done it twice. I think we're good. where I can kind of stretch it out a little bit. Only got the 4th gear. I'm gonna see if I can get to the 5th. Do I dare take it on the highway? Maybe not yet. I can also tell the vibration. My stick gear shifter usually rattles way worse. So that stick, putting them new bearings and all that stuff in there seems to have calmed the transmission vibration down quite a bit. I think we're good. Shifter seems to work great. All right, me and Ronan are gonna go clean up our mess, put our tools away, and call it a wrap, I think. All right, I guess that's a wrap. Everything seems to be working good. I guess time will tell. Thanks for watching my video.